Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Greg and Ryan here with Bench Your Addiction, and today we're talking about being flexible with your training and what that looks like in regards to like being flexible with your training styles, in regards to flexible being training around like responsibilities you have, relationships, and things you have to do, and what that looks like traveling too. Because I just spent some time traveling. What my training ended up looking like after we traveled. So, start with you, Greg. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right, man. My eyes are open. so,
Yeah.
my eyes are open. We're gonna roll with it because as y'all can see, I'm not in the gym right now. But, um, no. So like when as you were going through that intro, like one of the last things that we finished off with, one of the last things that you finished off with in our previous podcast was talking about. Like how like knowing how to train around injuries, like or how to warm up around injuries, so that you don't have to completely derail your plan just because you woke up with a pain in your shoulder or you misstepped yesterday and kind of rolled your ankle and it's supposed to be heavy squat day or whatever, like whatever the situation may be, like understanding how you can train around injuries. And like one of the stories that comes up for me was like when I was training for my first strongman competition, I was just being reckless with deadlifts, man. I was lifting like I was 18 and not 29. Not that 29 is extremely old, but like it's definitely not 18 years old. And so,
Yep.
um, I was just trying to, I got all hyped. I was lifting with somebody, got all hyped up, and was going through this deadlift session with him. And his back was tweaking, and my back didn't feel horrible, but it like my lower back definitely didn't feel good while I was just doing these barbell deadlifts. And um, bouncing the weight, clanging the weight, whatever, and doing stuff that just uncontrolled and not really trying to fix the wedge into the bottom of the deadlift and really trying to pull from a powerful position. And man, I really like I popped something in my lower back. Like I felt it. I felt a shift. I felt a pop in my lower back, and while I was walking a little bit funny, but at the time I was only about 9 weeks out from my strongman competition. I wasn't willing to stop training. I wasn't willing to just stop. Although I was in enough discomfort and pain where for a couple of days it changed the way that I walked. And I certainly couldn't go back and do a bunch of free weight squats and barbell stuff and like even barbell bench was at the time, kind of the way that you have to set up and
You
arch
got
the
our
back and
step
all this
back.
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, so like even trying to set it up, a bench press was really tweaking my back, and you get really creative. Like when you determine that there is something that needs to be done and unforeseen obstacles come up, you don't just experience that setback and go, well, I guess we're done. Like I guess this just isn't going to work. No, you find different ways around. And so for a week I was doing bench supported, chest supported, everything. The gym I was working out at doesn't have all of your traditional equipment. So like don't like we had a cable tower, like two pulleys so that you could do chest flies and stuff like that. We had a lat pull down, a cable seated row. We had some dumbbells. We had squat racks. We had kettlebells, and we had an open space with a carpet so that you could use turf and sled. I'm sorry, yeah, it was a turf, and so you could pull the sled around. And so, um, I I had to modify everything that I had at the time. So I move a bench into the position so that I could do a chest supported row, or like I could do chest supported. I did chest supported everything, so that I could take that lack of ability to internally stabilize my body as a result of the pain I was experiencing and throw it onto something that could externally stabilize my body, and I could rely on that so that I wouldn't have to use my core as much. And then day after day, you start to get a little bit better. So you start to filter in the like a little bit less external stability and a little bit more internal responsibility over the maintaining your posture, and like gradually, like you get back to where you were. And at that time, I ended up going into that competition and I deadlifted 475 for the first time ever. Like my previous personal best to that was 380 pounds.
Whew.
So, you know,
25% roughly.
yeah, even though even though I went like I went I went probably a week, certainly a week and a half of bench supported stuff, and like I didn't really get back to any kind of free weight stuff for about or barbell work anyway for about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, which means when I came back at it, I only had about 7 weeks ish to prepare. I still came back and I had a hell of a turnout, and I ended up getting a lot stronger through that, and strength part of the development of strength comes from training intelligently.
Yeah.
So train intelligently.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how you become more aware of it after you don't train intelligently, right? My own back injury story, it's like, man, like, it's funny how much my training styles changed. And then, like, I'm just learning to be totally flexible about what you can and can't have. Like, I was traveling this last week and, like, I brought some bands with me and some, like, push up stands. And I was like, cool, this is what I'm going to have, right? And, like, I was like, sharing a cabin with some guy I just met, and my alarm would go off at 4:30, and we had like classes start at like 6 or 7, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Working out, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you." He's like, "I'm gonna work out." He's like, "Oh, this early?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Every day?" I was like, "Probably." Like, you know what I mean? And like, I did what I could. Like, I had bands, right? And so I'm doing like pike push-ups and like, pistol squats and whatever I can to get it in. And I don't normally run, but since we're out in the swamps of Texas, I was like, cool, I guess it's a nice week for a couple runs, right? And so I got some running in. I ran a few miles here and there, and I was like, this is what I have access to. This is what we're going to do, and this is what I'm going to take advantage of. And it felt good, right? And like, it was interesting to run next to some gators as I run by. I was like, all right, this is different. This is very different for me, right? But it felt good, and it reminded me that like I could run more, and I should do more of this bodyweight stuff and incorporate more of it into my daily routine, right? And not get so like used to like gym dependent stuff. And we're traveling more this week for Thanksgiving because it's Thanksgiving. Now we're gonna go see my wife's family, and I'm gonna go either find a gym down there or do the same thing, run and bring some bands with me. Maybe I'll incorporate my kid this time. He likes working out with me. I like do presses with him and squats with him. It makes it great. He's like, he's into it. It's fun.
That's fantastic. So where's the wife's family from?
They're from Modesto, but we're gonna be down in San Jose for her grandma's.
Oh, okay.
Do that. Yeah, we kind of meet in the middle, and it's a good mix. And we do that, and I'm gonna cook a bunch of food that I only eat once a year, and enjoy it, and not stress about my diet, and then just go on. Right?
Yeah, I mean, at least you're in your off season right now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, like, it doesn't license you to eat like an asshole, but you can.
I mean, I probably will. It's the one day I give myself. Like, out of all the days of the year, like I was talking with clients this week, and I was like, so this is the week I'm not going to ask you about your diet because I know better. But just put it in your head. Don't stress about it. Eat the food. Don't be awkward. Move on. That's the hard part, right? And then, like, after I first injured my back injury, it was a lot of like rehab stuff, right? Like, what else can I do? What else can I switch? And for me, the back injury was significant enough that, like, I stopped powerlifting completely because I was just done. I did add a powerlifting meet. And it was like a blessing in disguise because for me it led to bodybuilding, and now I'm doing really well at that. And I was like, cool, what else can we do? It wasn't like I'm going to stop lifting forever. It was like, how else could I lift? How else could I change this style that's going to help me and best support me and still keep moving and still keep doing stuff? And I did a lot of chest supported stuff for a long time. And, even now, some days bent over rows can still be a little rough on that low back, but like I still try them every other week. I'm like, are you ready yet? And I'm like, nope. All right, cool. Chest supported rows. Got it. And I just do that like every week, and it's getting better. It's almost there. 4 years later, it's like, almost there, but it's just adapt and overcome. And like, for me, it's like bodybuilding has been great, right? Like, I'm doing great in it. The sport's doing great for me. Like, my friend joked about it. I was like, well, what are you going to do after bodybuilding? I was like, I don't know, marathons or something, like something else, right? It'll just be something else I'm going to do, right? Whatever it's going to be to stay active and stay fit and stay moving and keeping this body like alive for the rest of my life is really what matters.
Yeah, for sure. And like treating it as such, treating it like it's a journey, man, because like so many people get this fire under their butt at the start of the new year, like after they finish eating like an asshole for a couple of holidays. They get that fire and they're like, I'm going to be ready for summer. And it's like, it just never works like that. And it's a lot, you can relate it a lot to like the journey of fitness and related to recovery, man. Like people come into the program of recovery, and like at first they're like a wet candlestick, like you just can't light the fire. They're not interested. They come to hang out maybe, and then they just stop coming around. And then there's like, and that was me for a little bit. And then there were some times where you come in and you're on fire for the program, but you just want, like, just the same way that you chase the effect of the drug or drink, you chase the effect of the recovery process. He's like, I'm going to do step 9. Like, you haven't read the book yet. You haven't done any of the step work yet. Like, you're not, like, that's not, you don't just get to jump to the 9th step. Like, you don't get to that part. And like, as if saying sorry one more time is really going to change your freaking life. It's really not. And then like you find, like, for my, like, I was like that for a little bit. And then the next phase is like I got my ass kicked a little bit more by the drink. And then I came in and had a little bit of humility and was like, you know what? I really cannot manage my own life. I really can't. How about, for the first time in my life, I just take it like I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life, like really treating it like I'm running a marathon. Like, it's not, there's some times where you need to really turn it on, and you really need to get, like, as with fitness, there are times where if you have any type of real fitness goal, like, there are times where you really got to push yourself and hit that next level effort and sustain that next level effort, but understand that you just can't hold that forever. Like, you've talked about your long-term goals, and there's going to be, you got 5-year, 10-year plans with your coach, and you're like, okay, so these are the shows we're going to do, and this is the year that I'm going to take completely off. And because you, like, as a natural athlete, like, you have certain tenets that you have to abide by in order to be
Yep.
able to do this forever. And that's the thing, man, is I would tell that to my, like, when I was a swim coach, I would tell that to my parents, the parents of my athletes. Like, when the parents had a kid that had some pretty good natural talent, the parents were obsessed with making, they got to be the best for this upcoming meet. And like, so many kids get burnt out on that, man. So many kids get burnt out on that. And you try to push a 12-year-old to do something, like, they got to wake up early, they got to go to 2-a-days, and they don't even like it really. They just go because of their friends, and they just get freaking burnt out. And I would try to communicate through parents, sometimes successfully, mostly unsuccessfully. Like, I'm not interested, as their coach, I'm not interested in making them the fastest 12-year-old that they can be. I want them to be the fastest 18-year-old that they can be, so that they can go to college if they want, and on scholarship. And like they did, like, people just have such a short-sighted vision
Yeah.
of what needs to get done, that they can't, like, you can't zoom out and see the bigger picture. And that's where, like, allowing for some flexibility in my own fitness regimen right now is necessary, because I'm doing a cross country move where we're fitting 2 people's lives into the backside of 2 different vehicles, and my truck doesn't even have a back seat. So, like, we're taking 2 lives, we're trying to shimmy it down into 2 vehicles. We're going to drive one across the country. I'm going to be jobless for a little while, and so is my partner. And I'm just like, so there's just so much that's going on. And like, as it's already been mentioned, I'm not in the gym as I have usually been, because some stuff came up last night. I had to stay up way later than I usually stay up, and I don't like working out in the afternoon, but it really doesn't matter what I like. Like, I mean, it's not always a matter. Like, shocker, it's not about my will. Like, it's really not and as much as I enjoy when things go my way, there are so often where things do not go my way, that I'm going to be more contented if I can just accept that life has curveballs, and I just freaking roll with it, man. So I'm not going to be doing cartwheels into the gym this afternoon at about 3 o'clock, at about 3 o'clock, but I'm going to do it, because as with the swim practices that I did growing up, like, when you wake up at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning for a 4:30 or 5 a.m. workout, you got to jump in 75-degree water. That doesn't sound cold, but jump in 75-degree water, see if you enjoy it, man. And like, the hardest part was to jump in the damn pool. After you do that, man, you're golden. Like, you want to move, because the more you stay still, the more frozen you're going to be. So like, as soon as you jump in the water, practice can go, man, and it ain't no problem. But it's that jumping in part, like getting into an ice bath or whatever. You cannot dip your toes into it and expect to be excited. You just gotta go.
Man, that's such like a good metaphor for life, right? It's always the first step that's the hardest, right? It's like you just got to take that plunge, man, and just jump in and just keep moving. And like, it's funny how it's always the same thing, right? When we're talking about recovery or training or getting started or changing your diet, like you just got to take that first step, man. And like it's like what's the adage, right? Like every journey to the top of the mountain starts with that first step. And I think especially like bring up like the New Year, since it's about to be the New Year's, people get so rigid. They're like, well, I got to go to the gym 7 times a week, and I got to eat this style of meals, and I got to run every day, and I got to do this, and like I can't tell you how many clients I've had ask me like, well, I got to run to be in shape, right? And I was like, I mean, you can if you want to, bro, but like you don't have to do anything, right? Like you probably should just walk. For you, I would walk, and they're like, that's it. And I was like, yeah, because you don't do anything. I would think walking would be great first step. And it's like people get so stuck in this rigid ways, and then you see like all the studies show like 3 weeks into January, they're like, this is insane, I can't do this, and they stop and give up all of them. If they had just been more flexible with themselves and been like, well, if I could just do a little bit, I could do a little bit more, they would feel way better. And while I was out on this retreat, I connected with this doctor from Alabama, and he talked a lot about how his hands feel tied all the time, right? He's dealing with clients. He's got like maybe 20 minutes to see them. And he's like, well, I can write you another blood pressure pill, right, to lower your heart rate, but you probably should just go to the gym and work out and change your diet. And like how little time he has to talk to them about that, how little training he has with nutrition and exercise, and like how it's just frustrating. He feels like his hands are just tied all the time and just wants people to move a little bit more, eat a little bit less, and feel a little bit better. And if people just learn to be more flexible with themselves, it would work way better, right? And like you see this a lot too with like social media. Like people are like, "Oh, this is the only way you can eat. This is the only way you can exercise, and this is the secret to get my 6 pack, and it'll cost you $1,000 for me to show you the secret video that doesn't actually do anything." It's like cool. You know what I mean? I got the secret ingredient. Hint: it's turmeric. Yeah, man. But that's another. uh, Yeah, bro. It's like some of the stuff I see online is like crazy. And then the questions I get asked, people are like, well, I heard about this thing. And I was like, so the client was asking me last night, what about seed oils? My brother says seed oils are going to kill you. And I was like, I don't know, deep fried food's probably bad for you. And that's usually what people use seed oils on. He was like, yeah, but it's like the way it's processed. And I was like, do you eat protein powder? And they're like, well, yeah. And I was like, is that processed? They're like, oh. And I was like, yeah, you probably eat some processed food, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
Right.
like this, I don't know how to get around that. But it's like pick and choose, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because like I can tell you for sure, I've already gone down that rabbit hole of we're going to eat completely natural, completely organic. We're going to get food shipped from local farms from various different companies, and Monsanto's out to kill us. And American wheat is killing glycine in your system. And like if you really want to go down that rabbit hole, like there's nothing that we do properly. Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a damn thing in Western society nutritionally that we do right. There's no quite honestly, like it's pick the lesser of two evils, understanding with that statement that what you're picking is still inherently evil in some way. Like
Yes.
the lesser of two evils doesn't mean that your choice is good. Like just because it's less bad. I mean, like it's still not great. Nothing, but that's the thing is like it's not gonna be great. Even if you like with all of your efforts, man, because you're going to either run out of time or money or both, unless you're extremely well funded, and then in that case, you probably shouldn't live in America because American farming practices, etc. Like you can just peer a little bit into the toilet bowl of the universe of that, and like it will completely freak you out, or at least it did to me. And so, um, you do the best you can, man. Like you do the best you can. I do the best I can. Like I drink coffee instead of the copious amounts of energy drinks. I still have energy drinks on occasion, but I try to drink coffee instead
Yep.
and leave it at that. And but understanding like if I really want to go down that rabbit hole with the water, I didn't go through. I didn't get reverse osmosis, completely filtered, perfect out water so that it's in pH balanced or whatever. I got water essentially from the tap, which means that there's probably some chlorine in this, which means that the fluoride in it is going to calcify my pineal gland, and we can like if I really like I can just and then my access to dreams and the spiritual state is completely handicapped. At least that's where my mind has gone before. And if I want to allow myself to do that, I can drive myself completely freaking bonkers, and I can just be completely insane and decide I'm not going to eat anything. I'm just going to go like Jesus and go 40 days and 40 nights without eating. And that's not really sustainable either. So,
No.
but I mean, like, it's the image of what people think fitness needs to be that completely damns them into because it is so perverted by social media in several instances about what it is that you need to do. There's I came across a couple of these TikTok style videos of this military guy who's obviously on enough gear to kill a fucking horse, and he's saying this is what you got to do for shoulders. And it was like realistically I might be able to like some of the exercises I saw, like I might be able to pump out like 5 or 6 reps before like I'm completely gassed out. And he's saying that you got to do sets of 20. And and then you do this exercise, and then you do this exercise, and then you do this exercise, and then you do this exercise. And then people think that you got to be in the gym for some 3 hours long, and if you do anything less than like if you don't hit that magic mark, then you're obviously not going to change. And like my entry point into doing cardio, I guess earlier this year, when I really started to reincorporate cardio back into my exercise regimen, was 10 minutes on the Stairmaster at a low level intensity, because I knew inherently that if I got on that thing and I put it at a very high level and I told myself I had to do 30 minutes, I would have hated it, and I would have suffered, and I would have made it that much harder for me to get on it the next time because of how much the previous experience sucked. So like 10 minutes at a relatively low level, get on it, get off it, and go about my business. And then, the next day do it again. Oh, this is all right. This is actually pretty good. I'm breathing a little bit better, and like I obsess about numbers. So like I got myself a heart rate monitor, and I wanted to see what my heart rate would do at different levels. And, I worked my way up to being able to do a really high level 30 minutes, and then I could do intervals, and like it slowly broadened the scope of options I had. But it all started from doing 10 minutes at an extremely low level. And somebody who's inexperienced in fitness would see that, hear that, especially with my history in
Mhm.
fitness and how well I've managed to, I mean, not that it's great, but I've done decently for myself over the years, taking care of myself and sticking to fitness. And like, if the people who are inexperienced in fitness knew my history in its entirety, they're like, really? 10 minutes? What's the freaking point? The point is that I got started.
Yep. Yep. You guys got to get started, man. That's awesome, man. It's funny when we talk about like just like the real basics. People look at me, they're like, "Oh, I bet you could deadlift a lot. I bet you could squat a lot." I was like, "I don't know, man. I haven't done that in a while. Like, I'm sure I probably could, but like, I just haven't done it in a while. It's not my training style currently, and people get caught up in like numbers and like how you're supposed to do it, and like the one size fits all, and then I'll get questions about like, well, I want to do a bodybuilding style. Should I do 20 reps of everything? And I'm like, I don't know. What is failure to you? What does failure look like? And they're like, well, I did 30 reps. And I was like, we should probably raise the weight. That's a pretty simple answer. Just raise the weight, make it harder, right?
Yeah.
But you don't know if you don't test yourself, right? If you don't test yourself all the time. And like it felt good to run this last week, and I was like, oh, I forgot about this. I could do this more often, right? And I didn't run far, like mile and a half, 2 miles, 3 miles, like nothing major. But like, if you'd asked me a couple of years ago to run that far when I was powerlifting regularly, wouldn't have happened, man. When I powerlift, I couldn't run a mile, right? Like I could pick up a car, but I couldn't run a mile. I used to joke with my friends about that. I also couldn't do a pull up then. So it's like it's funny what you trade off for different things. And for me now, it's like I want to be well rounded, right? Like because the main goal is to keep up with my kid. Like yeah, I love bodybuilding, but the real goal is to keep up with my kid and play and
Sure.
hang out with him and like do all that shit. And so I'll probably start running more because I think he's at that age he's ready to start running too. So it's just learning about getting started, getting moving, getting grooving, and like not waiting until the new year to take advantage of your health, right?
Yeah. The number of times that I've heard people say, myself included, I'm in this just as much as anybody else, man. Like, uh, I'll start tomorrow, or like, you know what, today's already kind of shot, so let me just go ahead and I'm gonna hit the drive-through just one more time, and we're gonna pick this battle up again tomorrow. And um, it's an extremely uncomfortable thought to wrestle with. I've left myself in completely dark rooms, and because this is just my process, is like I want to face the uncomfortable, so I've done things that other people have called me, like I've been called a sociopath, I've been called a psychopath, I've been called crazy, over what I really want to meditate on, what I really want to like come to grips with and kind of stare in the face. And like one of the things is like the idea, the concept of just for today. Like we so easily take for granted that tomorrow's a sure thing. And I know I did. I know I can. I know I'm still capable of tomorrow. And like I just kind of this flippant thought of, yeah, we'll just handle this tomorrow. But how many more tomorrows do I have, really? And
Roughly
do
18,000.
like yeah, like do it
18,000.
19. That yeah, it's like but do I know for certain I have tomorrow to do this? Do I know that for sure? And I like it's really uncomfortable to sit with the fact is like I don't actually know. And so like, am I willing? Like one of the questions like I'll find myself asking when I'm looking at stuff that I don't really want to do, and like I'll ask myself, am I willing to let this be unfinished forever? If I never return to this, if I don't get tomorrow, am I willing to let this be completely unfinished? Am I willing to pass on with this being left undone? And if I get really freaking uncomfortable at that thought, I might as well sit my ass down and do whatever it is that I've been trying to procrastinate on or not do, because when it really comes down to it, man, I don't know. And like I don't want, like there are certain things that I want to make sure. There's very little that I have absolute control over, and like the couple of things that I really can assert some level of control over, and some level of my own power over, like my will and my actions, and like making sure that they're in alignment with God's will for me. And I want to do the best I can to make sure that I leave no stone unturned, because uh, hell on earth is like hell. Like I love this definition, and this is another thought that's gotten me called sociopathic. So, but like I love this. Is just like hell is to make it to the end of your life, go to your creator, like stand face to face with your creator, and your creator's like, what did you do with your life? And it's like I did nothing with it. I give it back to you. I didn't do anything with it. Like I took all the treasures and I buried it in the sand. And I just wanted to make sure that it was in pristine condition to give it back to you. And God's like, that's not the point, man. You like my child, you wasted it. You wasted your one shot.
Yeah. Word. That's heavy, man. And I think we're gonna wrap it up there, man. Like,
It's really
live your
dark.
life. Yeah, that's great, man. Live your life, man. I mean, what I heard, I got, I'm the kind of person who gets inspired from that, man. Live your life. This is gonna be it. Like, I was talking about something similar. Like, the way I talk about it is like death is always looming over your left shoulder, right? Because it's gonna win, right? Like death is gonna win. So what is that doing to make empower your every step today, every action, every motion, everything you're doing? What are you doing to like live this life to the fullest? Because it is going to end. So that's the way I look at it, right?
Memento mori.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I'll see you guys all next week. I guess hope you all have a great Thanksgiving and talk about moving forward into the new year.
Peace.